Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I've got quite a big gap going on behind me, and that is because of what I'm going to be talking about in today's video, which is my steelbook collection. Now, I thought this would be a relatively easy video to make, but while going through and picking out all of my steelbooks that I've got in my different console collections, I actually have a lot more than I thought. So I'm just going to jump straight into it. I'm going to get started with I think Nintendo steelbooks I have, because I don't have that many, and we'll just go from there. Let me just grab the first lot and we'll get started. So with my Nintendo steelbooks, I actually have 3 for the 3DS and I have 3 for the Nintendo Switch. And the 3 that I have for the 3DS are the Pokemon Omega Ruby steelbook. Really nice. I mean, Ruby was the one I played when I was a kid, so obviously when they released these I had to get it. I worked at Game at the time, and you know, I made sure basically that I got a steelbook. I mean, it still even has the old game receipt in there. But yeah, that's the first one for 3DS. The second one is Pokemon Sun. There is a little dent in the back of this one. I don't know how that's happened, probably while I've been moving, while it's been in transit and stuff. Still a nice steelbook. Obviously you don't come across 3DS ones all the time, and I think all of them, or most of them, are Pokemon related, which is why the last one is Pokemon Ultra Sun. I think this is one of the only Pokemon games I haven't actually completed, so I think it's because it was so soon after Sun and it was very samey. It was just one of them. But that takes me nicely onto the couple of Switch ones that I have, and the first one being Pokemon Sword. Being a Dark Souls fan, when I saw that there was a legendary that was a wolf wielding the sword, obviously I had to pay respect to Sif and get this version. They tried obviously delving into open world kind of style with this one. Didn't work the best, but obviously they worked on that for Scarlet and Violet and it come out a lot better. One that they did open world really well in, and I enjoyed from start to finish, and I'm looking forward to the next one, is Pokemon Legends Arceus. Was it Arceus? I think it's meant to be Arceus, isn't it? Because you're not meant to say arse with Pokemon, but hey ho. Absolutely love this. The different style of gameplay to your normal Pokemon games was the breath of fresh air, and it was just, yeah, from start to finish, loved every second. Grinded shinies on it for a little bit. Just a really fun game all around. And then my last Switch steelbook is Super Smash Bros. You can't go wrong with Super Smash Bros. I think everyone needs to have a copy of this on Switch. Cool steelbook, a bit bland, but my favourite of all these in terms of steelbook would be the Legends Arceus one, just because of the artwork on it. I think it's really cool. You know how it all makes one image, and you got the Pokemon on there and stuff. So that was my short but sweet Nintendo steelbook collection. We'll quickly move on to my Xbox, and this will include 360 and Xbox One. Obviously I don't collect for Series S and X anymore, but when I do see the steelbook going for the Xbox exclusive games, I do try and pick them up as I see them. But we'll start off with one that isn't that, and it's basically because of the quality that I haven't put this over to my PS4 copy, and that is Destiny 1. But the problem with this steelbook is along the spine there's a lot of rust, and I honestly don't remember spilling anything on this. I'm guessing at some point I must have, because to get that rusty, it's not like no other steelbook in my collection is like that. So I can only imagine at some point something spilt on it, or something along them lines, some kind of moisture obviously. I am hoping to pick another one up, but they're not that expensive, just to have my PS4 copy in a steelbook as well. Another one that isn't an exclusive, and you'll see later on I have another steelbook for, is Final Fantasy 15. I did enjoy this game. I know again it got a lot of flack, and yes, it was rushed towards the end, but I did have a lot of fun with it, and you know, with all the updates and stuff nowadays, it's a really fun game to play. So the first one that is an Xbox exclusive is the Gears of War 4 Steelbook. I think I got this whilst I was still Team Xbox, which unfortunately didn't last long into the Xbox One generation. But one that there's a lot of rumours going around at the moment that is coming to PlayStation, and I'll be so excited if it does, is Halo, and this is the Master Chief Collection Steelbook. Absolutely love Halo. The reason I got an Xbox 360 back in the day was because I played Halo 3 at a friend's house and I fell in love. I mean, we had the original Xbox when I was growing up, so obviously I played Halo 1 and 2, and then playing Halo 3 when that first came out. That Christmas I asked for an Xbox and we got one with Halo, and from that point until, you know, I got back into PlayStation with the PS4, I was all about Xbox and Halo. But absolutely amazing games on here. Excited to see if this does come to PlayStation. Next one, unfortunately, I used to get rid of cardboard sleeves. I know it's a big sin in the gaming community or collecting community nowadays. But this is the Halo 5 Guardian Steelbook. It's got all the little bits. I know you can build one of the enemies with that. It becomes like a steel kind of figure thing, and it's got all the little like collectible bits and pieces still in here, not even opened, because that's what I tend to do. I buy these things and then, you know, keep them looking nice inside. But for some reason, unfortunately, I used to get rid of the cardboard sleeve, so it is missing that. So that's my very small Xbox One Steelbook collection. Now we'll get into the 360 side of things, and we'll start this off with one of the big box Steelbooks, and that is the Gears of War 1. I mean, I wouldn't really call this a Steelbook, it's more of like a steel case, isn't it? Similar to the Halo 5 Guardians. The plastic isn't in the best condition on the back. It's got a bit of a crack, I guess you'd call that, in it. But the Steelbook itself isn't too bad. Obviously scratched and stuff where it's been removed. There's a bit of a dent in the top. Still got everything you need inside. So you've got like the game and the making of in this little like cardboard sleeve, and the art book that comes with that as well, and then obviously the manual in there too. These aren't too expensive to pick up nowadays. I think they're quite cheap. I did used to have the Halo 3 one. Unfortunately, me being younger, didn't look after it. Obviously it got battered. I think that was a shared game between me and my brother, and we used to fight all the time, so no doubt it was a casualty of one of our many wars. So the next Xbox 360 Steelbook is the Gears of War 3 Steelbook. Unfortunately, I am missing the Gears of War 2 one. I don't know if I pick it up on camera, but there's a couple of dents on the front. A couple of scratches on the back as well. Really fun game. Probably the last Gears of War I did really enjoy. So the next Steelbook is a less common one, I'd say. Obviously the Gears of War ones you see quite commonly, but it's the Perfect Dark Zero Steelbook. I know this game got a lot of hate and didn't review too well. I know the controls were meant to be a bit clunky and stuff like that, but everything that should be in there is in there. You've got like the game. Behind the game is bonus DVD. I'm guessing that's like the making of and stuff like that. And then in here, got this weird little, I don't know what that is meant to be, little cardboard thing. A little comic book, which is a cool thing to add into these kind of things. You know, explains a bit about the world and the story and the characters, which is a cool way, especially with games that people aren't familiar with, to introduce people to the characters. But then you've also got the manual as well with all the good bits and pieces. But I just love the colours. Handgun down here is embossed as well. So this is a really cool Steelbook. And then the final Xbox 360 one is Watch Dogs. I say it's 360, I don't actually have the game for this. It's just the Steelbook only. And I think I picked this up for free from Game. So as it stands, this is just an empty Steelbook. And it's one at some point in the not so distant future, I can see myself parting ways with and passing it on to someone who will add it into the collection properly. So that's the end of my Xbox Steelbooks. I think there was about 10 there all in all. But next we'll move on to my small PS3 collection, but we'll kick things off with the PS3 Steelbooks with my favourite one, and that is the Lightning Return Steelbook. And I just think this, I have this forward facing on the shelf because I just think it looks fantastic, having lighting on the front like that. It just looks absolutely great. The back is a bit boring, but I can let that slide when the front looks like that. And obviously with the back of the sleeve cover, you've got stuff blocking that anyway. The next one, one I believe I got from CEX, is Gran Turismo 6 Anniversary Edition. Just one of them days, randomly popped into CEX, saw it on the shelf, couldn't say no really. Really fantastic condition. It's one of them that doesn't have the name down the side. So luckily I do have the sleeve cover, but it's annoying with these kind of games when you don't. But again, another really nice looking steelbook. I like the blue. It's a colour you don't really get very often with steelbooks. So this one is the Mag Collector's Edition. And as you can see, it's a bit battered at the front. It's missing a big chunk out of the sleeve cover. The back is fine. If you looked at the back, you probably wouldn't know there was any issues at all. But the side's not too bad either, but it's just the front here is missing a massive chunk, and you know, there are some chunks of like rust. Saw this at a car boot, sitting on the floor, bit dirty, bit dusty, but I think he wanted £1 for it. I ain't gonna leave a steelbook sitting there for £1, even if it is a game that is dead. The next one is the most recent steelbook I've added to the collection, and it's a very rare eBay purchase for me. I don't buy off there that often anymore, but this, for whatever reason, was a lot cheaper, and that is Prince of Persia The Forgotten Sands. I think this is classed as the collector's edition. The person who was selling this didn't advertise it as that. It was just Prince of Persia Steelbook. And I was the only person to bid on this, and I got it for 99p. Obviously with shipping, I think it was £3.50. So £4.50 for this, but it is also in pretty good condition. I wouldn't say perfect. You know, there's a few little bits and pieces here and there, but for the most part, it is just absolutely stunning. And whilst the base game isn't worth a lot, I think you can pick it up for like £2 from CEX. To have the steelbook version for only £4.50, again, you're not going to say no for that, are you? So the next two I got in one day, and the first one being the Resident Evil 5 steelbook. Now this is one of the rare few games that I have on PS4 and also on PS3, and that's simply because it's the steelbook version of it. Obviously the PS4 version didn't have a steelbook available, so because this is the only way to get the steelbook, I'm going to keep it in my collection, at least for now. One thing I did quickly want to show is it is missing the bonus DVD, so that's the only downside really. But was I ever really going to watch it? Maybe. I do like watching them from time to time and seeing the behind the scenes for these kind of games. But the other game I picked up at the same time as Resident Evil 5 was the Resistance 3 Special Edition. Now, I think this was the same price as the base game. Resident Evil 5 definitely was. I can't remember 100%. I think it was £6, which I think is about what? Maybe it was more. I can't remember. But anyway, this one is in pretty immaculate condition. I mean, there is, I don't know how well it'll pick it up on camera, but there is dents in the back, but I can only really see it on the certain light, and it's the back anyway. Again, it's hidden by stuff on the sleeve cover, so it's one of them where I ain't that bothered really. For a good steelbook like that for £6, it's very rare you walk into CX and see steelbooks nowadays. So most of the time when I do try and pick them up as and when I see them, especially if it's one I don't already own. So that was my very few PS3 steelbooks. We'll now jump over to the PS5. So if you watched my recent £198 game haul video, you will have seen that I did pick up the Modern Warfare 2 steelbook from CEX. Next one, got this with the collector's edition of the game, and what an amazing game this is, and that is Elden Ring. Absolutely amazing game. Bit of a bland steelbook, all things considered. Nothing else extra in this. Because it was part of the collector's edition, obviously I have the Melania figure right at the top of these bookcases behind me. So the next one is the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth steelbook. This is one that, you know, does look nice. With this one, I believe it was like a pre-order bonus from Game. I still know people who work at Game. They just sorted me out one. So yeah, really glad to have that in the collection. Nothing else special in there because obviously it was just the standard edition with the pre-order bonus. Another one that I got with the collector's edition of a game, but that is God of War Ragnarok. So I do have Mjolnir on my little God of War shelf, and you will have seen that if you watched my game room tour. But really cool steelbook. I like how the wolves are embossed. You know, really fantastic game all in all. So now the only ridiculous, disappointing thing about this and about getting the collector's edition, because everything in it was amazing. Mjolnir, the steelbook looks nice. All the little other bits and pieces like the dice and stuff, dice set, really cool. You don't get a copy of the game, you just get a code, which, you know, I'll leave on there because I've already used it obviously. But it is so disappointing that you get a copy of a game, you get a steelbook in there, but no game in the steelbook. Like, what's the point? So the last one for the PS5, which is only 5 of them, is Street Fighter 6. Now the story of how I got this, funnily enough, a guy I started buying things off on, it's like a local marketplace kind of thing. I went through a phase where I was trying to do reselling, and I was buying off him because he was looking at selling off a lot of his collection, but eventually he started selling off a lot of his gaming stuff, and that was stuff I was interested in keeping. And one of them was Street Fighter 6 collector's edition with the figures and all that kind of stuff, and he only wanted £120 for it. Got the collector's edition. I kept the game with a steelbook because it was one I wanted to play, and sold on everything else. Sold on the big box, sold on the figures, because I'm not a massive Street Fighter fan. I didn't really care. I don't have space to put them either. So I sold that on for £100. So essentially I got that for 20 quid, which at the time was good. I think it's probably about what it's worth nowadays, but to get the steelbook with it as well, can't complain. Right then guys, so that covers my steelbook collection for the Xbox 360, Xbox One, the Switch, the PS3 and the PS5, and we're going to leave it there for now because I've been editing this video for what seems like forever. I haven't had that much time in the last week and a bit, that's why I didn't upload a video last week. So I've cut this into 2 essentially. I'm going to do this as one video, and then my PS4, which is a whole other like bag of worms that I've still got to finish editing. I'll upload that either next, or I did go to the Black Country Games Fair last weekend, and it was an absolutely amazing event. Got some amazing pickups, so I do want to do a video on that. So I might do that video next week instead, and then the week after that, if I've finished editing this by then, do the PS4 Steelbook collection. But I just wanted to say, as always, thank you so much for watching the videos. If you got to this point, please leave a comment on what you thought was my best Steelbook out of all the ones I've shown so far. Please look forward to the Black Country Game Fair pickups video, and following that, the PS4 Steelbook collection video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.